off the rails already on a Sunday.
Welcome to the Bleedbigblue podcast, dedicated coverage of the New York Football Giants by your hosts, Marco, Trifecta, T. Merritt, and JBW.
Sunday morning, Sunday, Bloody Sunday. I already got in trouble by the CEO because I played, I guess, copy written material. Great.
Yeah, obviously that's going to get taken off the
breaking the law. Breaking the law. Oh, you know, it sucks because that's an awesome way to start the show. A little Sunday, Bloody Sunday. And now we're going to have to probably edit that out and repost. But while we're live, let's just keep going. What's up, buddy?
Nothing, man. You know, it's Sunday. This is usually our calm show where we're pretty chill.
Yeah, it's a good time show.
I enjoy the Sunday show.
The Sunday morning show is a good show. You get your cup of coffee, you sit around, you look at Twitter, you look at the recent news, you know, you take in what's going on over the course of the last couple of days, and you get ready for a new week coming up. We're 11 days away from draft day, so it's right around the corner. We're going to have our show on Wednesday night. That's going to put us a week out, and then we're going to be live during the draft as well. So a lot coming up, a lot of news to get to. If you're listening, we appreciate it. Give us a call if you want to talk about anything Giants related, draft related. 516-453-9383. 516-453-9383. Your trifecta, Captain Negative here with you, Tim with you. Justin is in Long Island, right? And Marco is streaming us live, but not joining at this time. So when you look at some of the stuff that's gone down over the course of the last 24 hours, something I just saw, Tim, that I wanted to get to because it's pretty funny. The last time we spoke about the draft pretty much at length, right? And I was I was really adamant about that. You know, if you're not going to take a quarterback, then ideally what you want to do is you want to trade back into the top, let's say 7, and guarantee yourself one of the players, let's say Barkley, Chubb, Fitzpatrick, Nelson, and
the
extra
thing is, everything I'm reading, Fitzpatrick's not in that group.
See, I just read something that says completely different.
Oh, okay. Well,
so it's really who you speak. It's really who you look at. And I'm going to pull up the article here. The article that just came out was by Cimini, Rich Cimini, ESPN.
Yep.
So blue check guy on Twitter, completely verified. And the last time we spoke, I said that the key team that nobody was really talking about was Buffalo, and I'm not going to take it at Rich Cimini, Cimini, at Rich Cimini on Twitter, and he just posted a mock draft on ESPN.com. I'm going to pull it up right here. We'll get right to it. What we've said is if you're not sold on a quarterback at 2, you want to trade back and end up with one of these guys, but not out of the top. A lot of people are throwing Buffalo out there, and you don't want to trade back out of the top 10, say, because then you'd end up with a lesser player. Yeah, you get more picks, but those picks are of lesser value than, you just went through a 3-13 season. Can we walk away with a player that can help us now? All 4 of those guys, Nelson, Fitzpatrick, Barkley, Chubb, help in a different area of need right now. Here's the mock, right? So Cimini says Browns, Sam Darnold, and I'm going to read it verbatim. The latest buzz suggests the Browns will take Josh Allen, but Cimini's not buying into it just yet. He's having a hard time believing that Dorsey will gamble on a quarterback who had accuracy issues against mediocre competition. He goes Sam Darnold for the Browns at 1. I don't think that we would disagree with that. We've heard Allen talk as well, but we wouldn't be surprised if Darnold is the guy.
No,
right?
honestly, that's the smart move, and if that's what Cleveland should do.
Okay.
Now, is Cleveland going to pull the Josh Allen and go on potential over production? Who knows? We'll see.
Now, here is the whole thing in a nutshell, right? So here are the Giants on the clock. What Cimini says is that the Bills will select Josh Rosen. Desperate for a quarterback, but listen, Tim, because I think this is key, right?
Yeah.
So it is the Bills trading up for that Giants pick. But there's a caveat, right? Josh Rosen, QB, UCLA, desperate for a quarterback. The Bills pull off a double jump, going from 12 to 2, using the Broncos number 5 as the middleman. The Bills have enough draft capital to do it. This is what you do when your current depth chart consists of A.J. McCarron and Nathan Peterman. So that is huge. It says the Bills definitely will be the team making the pick with the Giants, but by way of the Broncos at 5. At 3, it has the Jets taking Baker Mayfield. Jets prefer Mayfield over big-armed Allen because of his winning pedigree and rare accuracy.
Yeah.
Mayfield, 6 foot, just over 6 foot, would be the shortest quarterback drafted by the Jets since Jeff Blake. Who gives a shit? Browns at 4. This is where I differ with Cimini. Okay, he has the Browns taking Saquon Barkley. Dorsey will feel like Sonny Weaver without Jennifer Garner, pretty much, as he walks away with 2 blue-chip players. The Giants, he says, take Chubb. Gettleman should take he says Gettleman should take a quarterback, but he finds the combination of Chubb and extra draft picks from the Bills too tempting to pass up. The only thing I differ with that is I think the Browns would take Chubb and pair him with Myles Garrett, looking at what they've done in free agency, and I think the Giants can still get Barkley there. But if you had a gun to my head and you said this is the way that it's going to turn out, the top 4 picks, who you taking, it would be Chubb. And with the extra picks, I think if that happened, we would be very happy a week from this coming Thursday. Right or wrong, Tim?
Oh, 100%. And as far as Cimini saying that we would want a quarterback at 5, if we wanted a quarterback, we wouldn't trade down to 5. That just makes no sense. Exactly. We would have chose one of the guys. And like we've been saying on the show, I think it's Sam Darnold or trade. I don't even think it's the other guys are even a factor at this point. Let's see if Cleveland takes Sam Darnold. If they do, then we trade. If they don't, we'll sit here and take Sam Darnold at 2.
Now, I read something else this morning out of the New York Post, Paul Schwartz, that said, he believes that the Giants will not be trading back at all and that the pick will be Barkley. And he says that the Giants just don't like any of the quarterbacks that are in this draft, and Gettleman sees 2 players that he would take it to, Barkley and Chubb, that could be Hall of Fame players in this draft. And from that report in Schwartz's article, and I don't know if the article, he tweeted it. I saw it this morning, but it might have been from yesterday, because if I'm correct, it referenced 12 days to the draft, and today would be 11. So, but either way, it's from this weekend. It's recent. So if you want to read it, again, it's from Paul Schwartz, New York Post. In that article, it references that what the Giants think of Barkley is that he's better than Ezekiel Elliott because of his pass-catching ability, and that they'd be very happy taking him at 2.
Well,
I know that we disagree
I read
with
the
that.
same thing.
Now, I know that we would disagree with that, but I got a feeling, Tim, that that's the way that we're going here.
Well, you know what? It comes down to
unless Buffalo can get to 5, then I think it changes.
For lack of a better term, they want the clean prospects. And I think I read the same article where they're saying they aren't sold at any of the quarterbacks, but the top 3 guys are Barkley, Chubb, and Nelson in no particular order. Now, and they pretty much said Nelson's not going to go at 2 just because of his position, period. But Barkley and Chubb could go at 2. Again, seeing Chubb go at 2, that is such a Giants move, period.
You know what, though, Tim? And we got and if you're listening,
and the thing is, I like the with Barkley and Chubb, they're both clean prospects. As in, like, from what people are saying, like, you don't even need to bring them in for interviews. They're great. I guess Chubb already charmed the hell out of the Giants organization. Coming in,
he showed
like,
up in a suit. He was very professional. Yeah, he looked the part.
And Barkley's pretty much put out there he wants to go to the Giants. And you think he wore the sweatshirt for a reason, but he's already put it out there before that anyway.
Yeah, but here's my thing, Tim, and we got a caller on hold. We'll get to you in a second. And if you're listening, 516-453-9383. But here's my thing, Tim. If you love both of those players, see, here's my if you don't want to trade out to 12, if you can get one of those guys that you love, either one of them, and picks, I think that is phenomenal. So if Cimini is correct and Buffalo or let's say Miami or someone can find a way to get to the Broncos at 5 and then use that pick to then get to the Giants pick at 2, and Gettleman can walk away with either Chubb or Barkley, because if you go through it, I mean, just look at the numbers, right? You go quarterback at 1, pick a quarterback, any quarterback, Allen, Darnold, whomever. Let's say in this case it's Darnold, and then you say whomever they're going to trade up to get, whether that be the Dolphins or the Broncos, if they're using the 5th pick, if they're going to go from 5 to 2, guess what? They're doing it for a quarterback. So you got pick a quarterback, any quarterback going to 2, and the Jets is taking a quarterback. So the first position player isn't going till 4, and there is a chance that someone at that point can get desperate for a quarterback and trade up with Cleveland to secure the 4 pick. So if you're sitting with the 5th pick, you're getting at least Barkley or Chubb, and if someone gets desperate and trades up to 4, you're sitting there with a lot of the bunch and the first position player off the draft. So I think Broncos hold a lot of weight right now with this draft and which way it's going to fall, because I think they're the team that could trade back and open up the Giants having the best of both worlds. Let's get to the line, 613. Where you calling from? What's your name? What you want to talk about? Good Sunday morning.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up, buddy? What's your name? Where you calling from? What you want to talk about?
Hey, y'all know my name's G-Man. I've been listening to you guys for a little bit of a while now. The show is awesome. I love it.
Hey, awesome. We appreciate that, man. Thanks for calling in.
I'm calling from Long Island.
Hey, buddy.
Awesome.
All right, the thing is, dude, is that there's no other team I like in the NFL other than the Giants. There's no other one. I don't like any other one. I don't like the Redskins. I don't like the Eagles, and I don't like the Cowboys. But there's nothing I like about those teams. The Giants are it, number one. The thing is about the draft is that the Giants are sitting at a kind of a crazy spot right there at number 2. Because the reason why is because they need both of those guys. They actually need Chubb, and they actually need Barkley. It's all about what exactly they want to go or what direction they want to go, because Barkley is needed in that offense. Shermer needs Barkley in order for his offense to run, because right now, the way they're positioned, the way those people are sitting right now, you got Beckham, you got Sterling Shepard, you got Ingram, who's going to be unbelievable in the second year, almost uncoverable as a tight end. All right? Now you've got Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall, really, if that dude can come back to any way he was the last season he was on the Jets, then he would just be an added plus. But I wouldn't be so much even against dropping him and actually picking up Dez Bryant, as crazy as that sounds, because Dez Bryant would be another ace in the card for that offense right there. If they could put all those people straight across. Now, getting back to the other dude, Chubb, Chubb fits perfectly in that guy's defense that he's trying to run. He's going to run a 3-4 defense. In order to run a proper 3-4 defense, you need linebackers. Okay? Are you guys with me? All right?
Yeah,
we're here. We're
absolutely with you.
You're still live. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're bringing up great points, man. Honestly, and to get to it, it's a choice between Barkley and Chubb. Just
either way,
for the fact
either way, they're going to win. The only way I could see them dropping back in the draft is if they drop down to where, let's say, like Buffalo is. Where is Buffalo picking? Like 12th?
Buffalo,
12th,
yeah. Buffalo picks 12. See, I'm against trading with Buffalo unless Buffalo can find a way to trade up to 5 or 6. And yeah, I'm with you on the Chubb Barkley thing. I think if you're asking me who I would take here, and I love Barkley as a prospect, I love Chubb as a prospect. I'm of the mindset of I love the Broncos pick at 5. I think that's a prime position to be in. I think if the Giants can find a way to trade back to 5, you walk away with either Chubb or Barkley and extra picks. But if you're telling me I'm picking at 2, I'm taking Chubb, and here's why. I'm taking Chubb for the sole reason of the value at defensive end drops off considerably after Chubb. He's the best pass rusher in the draft. I bring him in, I get markedly better, and I can always get a running back that maybe isn't as good as Barkley, but is definitely, I mean, we've seen it before. You look at some of the later round picks in recent drafts, like Kamara, like Hunt. You're looking at guys that have contributed big numbers for offenses. I think you can get a guy like that later in the draft and not really have to use the number 2 pick on it. So for me, number 2, I'm picking Chubb. Listen, we appreciate your call. You're on hold. We did not get rid of you. So if you want to hang around, we always do a rapid fire with the callers. So please hold the line. Hang out with us. There's another caller on the line, 704.
One second, James. 1 second.
Go ahead.
I'll give you a little more added information. Pat Shurmur might be a little gun shy of getting Barkley because he was on Cleveland when they drafted Trent Richardson at number 3.
Yep.
And see how that worked.
Great point. I mean, and that's not saying anything against Saquon Barkley. Like, I like Saquon Barkley as a player.
I like Saquon as well.
Yeah, please, it's about value in the draft. Now, if I'm sitting at 5 and Buffalo
I have no problem
goes...
taking Saquon at 5. At 2, I have a problem with it. I have a problem with it.
If I'm sitting at 5 and Chubb goes 4, I'm perfectly fine taking Saquon Barkley and moving on. But if you're telling me I'm using the pick at 2, for as much as I'm opposed to doing it, because if you're going to pick 2, you take a quarterback. But if you can't get the trade you like, then I would take Chubb over Barkley, and only because of the value. 704, where you calling from? What's your name? What you want to talk about? Good Sunday morning. 704, you there?
Hello?
Hey,
good
how
morning.
you doing?
What's up? What's your name?
My name is Pam. You spoke to me several times.
Hey, Pam, how are you?
Well, I'm good, but I agree to some of what the dude was saying, but I disagree with some of what he's saying.
Okay, well, talk to me. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Let me have it. Come on.
I like Chubb. I like Barkley. But when he made the comment about if we were going to go at number 2 and not 5, then he would go with the quarterback. Excuse my language. The hell with the quarterback. We don't need no quarterback. We got Eli. We got Webb. Webb deserves a chance to show us what he's got. Because we know Eli's probably only got 2 years left. Why throw Webb under the bus?
No. I'm not throwing Webb under the bus, and you're still with us.
No, the dude that just called in said that.
Oh, well, yeah, but still, here's the thing, and I appreciate where both sides of the Webb thing are going. I wanted to see Webb this year. To me, it was an absolute failure that they didn't play Webb at the end of the year, so we can at least see him. Now, here's the thing about Webb.
Yeah, they should have put Webb in instead of Geno.
Well, yeah, not even that. Like even if they screwed up with that whole situation towards the end of the year, there were plenty of games where we could have seen Webb. All right, and where he could have started and it wouldn't have been a big deal, and we could have seen him for a full game, maybe the last game of the season or the last 2 games of the season. When you're 3-11, it really doesn't matter. So, like,
right, I agree.
Play the kid because you knew you were going to be in this situation where you were going to be in a predicament where you were going to have to pick a quarterback, maybe. Now, here's the thing about Webb, and I'll be the first to say it. Last year in the draft, Pam, he like every team in the league passed on Webb a couple of times. Now, that's happened in the past with guys like Montana and Brady, but those guys are far and in between, okay? So the thing about Webb is he's progressed. When you look at the film, I don't know if you've seen some of the film he's been working out on Twitter.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, his footwork has got markedly better from where it was in college, from where it was in the preseason last year. So all the things you hear about work ethic and the fact that he's a gym rat, it shows on tape to the fact that he got better. Here's the thing, Pam. Here's what we don't know, right? We don't know when you put him in a game and there's a guy breathing down his neck if he gets panicked. We don't know if he can lead a team when things are going bad. We don't know if he's grown in terms of when the blitz is coming, making the right read and getting rid of the ball. Sometimes in college, he failed to do that. So
he did that in college. I agree. But look who he's being trained by.
I'm going to let you speak. Okay. I want to point out a couple of more things. Webb, in college, always in the shotgun. Never ran an offense out of the huddle, right? So there's a lot of question marks about Webb right now where if you're the Giants and you're in this position to where you're sold on one of these kids at quarterback, you have to take them at 2. You have to.
Yep.
Go ahead. I'll let you go.
I follow you on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You don't follow me back, but I do you, and I have commented many times. And they got this nickname for Rosen. Chosen. I don't want Rosen. I don't want Mayfield. We don't need a quarterback. We need running back and definitely offensive players for 2+ years now. Good offensive players, no doubt about it.
Let me ask you, Pam.
Why draft a quarterback when we've got 2?
Pam, if you're on the clock right now, right? So Dorsey has made the pick for the Browns, right? And he picks Darnold. And you're on the clock right now. You're Dave Gettleman. Who do you pick and why?
If I'm Dave Gettleman, I'd shoot myself, and you'd have to know why it's personal between me and him because I live in Charlotte. Yes, I know him personally, and I don't like the way he done Steve Smith with the Panthers and a few other players. He's greedy, I'm sorry, and he's a snake in the grass. He's
a businessman. He is. But if you're him
yeah, I get that. And that's the problem with football now. It's a business instead of a sport from old school days. See, I'm probably older than you. Back in the 80s, when you had LT, Phil Simms, Anderson, Otis, all been playing, that was football. You got too many rules, regulations. You get fined for every damn thing. It's become a business instead of football. And
hey, Pam, you're still with us. We're going to let you stay on the hold for a little bit. We'll get back to you in a couple of seconds. But, I disagree a little bit about the whole business football thing. But we appreciate Pam following us.
Following
us on Twitter, all that good stuff. And the calling in, we'll get back to you. But
we love everybody calling in.
Yeah, this is
now,
great.
As far as the Gettleman stuff, the one thing that he ran into when he got the Carolina job was that team was in cap hell.
Yep.
And there was a lot of people that they had to get rid of that were fan favorites, such as Steve Smith. But hey, you know what? That's going to happen. That's life. you know what? If it's going to happen with our team eventually. It's going to be, we're going to have to clear out guys because they're making too much money. It's always been a business. It's always going to be a business. It's a little more of a business now from where Pam's talking about in the 80s because it wasn't free agency like that.
Well,
what was the Plan B back in the day? What was the Plan
B? Here's what I want to say about that, right? So I don't know how old Pam is, but in reference to it being a business, I could tell you where I was on the day that the news broke that Phil Simms was cut from the Giants. And it was after Simms had maybe you can argue that year when Dan Reeves became the coach, I think it was 1993, it was 93, right? It was LT's last year, too. They lost. They got destroyed in the playoffs against San Francisco that season. They went out. Ricky Waters and Steve Young killed them. But Simms cut cold. It was a cat cut. So it's been a business for a long time now where, Simms was coming off a phenomenal season. He had shoulder surgery. He recovered fully from shoulder surgery to the point where, I don't know if people remember, but Simms, I remember on the Daily News back page one day, there was a picture of Phil Simms in a Browns uniform because there were rumors about him going to Cleveland at the time. So, I think Belichick was there. So, it happened. It's a business. You got to take that stuff with a grain of salt. We had a couple of callers that disconnected. We were trying to get to them, but, sorry, we can't just get to you guys immediately. There's other stuff going on, callers on hold. So
we'll get their call back. We like listening. And I'm looking at a few comments right now. I'll give you one right now. Go
ahead.
One scenario is we trade back with Denver, and we take Denzel Ward at 5. And, pretty much the guy's pretty much dropping the mic.
Denzel Ward at 5?
It would shock me. I wouldn't hate it.
Oh, I'd hate it.
He's the best corner. He's the best corner by far on the board. And technically, he should be in the group of the blue chip players.
I take Fitzpatrick.
Actually, a lot of the mocks that I've seen is Ward over Fitzpatrick.
I'm going to go back to Samini's draft now, and I don't believe he had it that way. Let me see here. He had so he has Barkley at 4. The Giants taking Chubb, Quentin Nelson at 6, and then he has the Buccaneers taking Fitzpatrick. Then he has the Cardinals from the Bears taking Allen. Roquan Smith going to the 49ers. And then Denzel Ward at 10 to the Raiders. 530, thanks for calling in. What's your name? Where you calling from? What you want to talk about? 530, what's up? Chicken shit hung up.
All right. I want to get into something that I know, some Giants fans have been asking, is Dez Bryant. Now, if Dez Bryant was to come into on our team, on the Chiefs, I'm all for it.
No.
And I know you hate it, but this is my thing. The guy has a passion and wants to win.
No.
If he wants to come on the squad and shove it to Dallas, and he's going to go off because it's Dallas, especially if he's on a really cheap deal, he's going to be on one of those.
You don't get to play Dallas all 16 games. There's 14 other games.
Well, no, I understand that. But
in the locker room with the other maniac who doesn't have a contract. I mean, come on. There's no conceivable way you could.
They like each other, though.
Jesus Christ. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Sherman will be in therapy 3 times a week. 530 back on the line. Where you calling from? What's your name? What you want to talk about?
It's JJ from Aberdeen.
JJ, what's up, man?
Yeah, man, I was looking at the Dez Bryant situation. I really don't see him fitting with the Giants, first of all, because he would want more money than they would be willing to submit to him. And then on top of that, the new regime is not going to want to take on a problem already dealing with a problem. So, as far as the draft goes, I don't think that Dez will factor into any of that. And I don't really see the Giants deviating from getting a quarterback as well as a running back, maybe not even necessarily in that order, but they're not passing up on the quarterback. I just don't see it.
Tim?
The only reason I would say they pass up on the quarterback, and I'm with you, they shouldn't pass up on the quarterback, but if there's one guy that they like over all of them, that's the one they have conviction over, and he gets taken number 1, which we're all pretty much thinking that it's Sam Darnold that they have conviction over, then you know what? What do you do if you don't really like the other 3 quarterbacks? You got to trade back. I mean, if that's the case. I mean, that's what we've been saying for about 3 months now. It's you take the quarterback that you want or you trade back. But why would you take a quarterback that you're like, I'm like I half like him, just to take a quarterback?
No, I agree with you. But the package has to fit. There's a lot of moving pieces. And that's why I said if one of these teams, the Dolphins or Buffalo, if they can find a way to get up to 5 or 6, that would be ideal for the Giants, because if you don't like the QB and you're trying to play this game right now, that puts you in a position where you could trade back, walk away with one of these prime position players, and have extra picks to,
James, I'll give you a scenario. What if we go down? What if we could trade back to 8?
I don't like it. You're at 8. You're missing out. There's a potential of missing out on one of those 4 guys that I like so much. Because at 8, you would need someone else. You would have to hope a 4th team takes that quarterback. So you're hoping on another trade, because it can conceivably go 1, 2, 3 quarterback. And then if it goes Chubb, Barkley, Nelson, Fitzpatrick, you're sitting there, and now you've missed out on one of those 4 players. And while, you could still end up with Denzel Ward, to me, I have those 4 players on my board above anyone else when it comes to position players. And I have guys like Ward, Smith, etc.
I think you would get at least one. You would get one, because I understand what you're saying, 1 through 3. So, it's obviously going to be, let's say.
Now, if another team trades up in the top, another team trades up. Now, if you're telling me Darnold, Rosen, and Baker Mayfield go 1, 2, 3, and somebody's going to trade up to get Allen, then by all means, boom. Then you're sitting there with one of those 4 guys. Then 8 becomes attractive, but the gamble on that's a big gamble. 917. What's your name? What you want to talk about?
You already know who I am, and I wanted to talk about this.
Ned. What's up, buddy?
I personally, I don't want Ned, and I don't want Dez unless he's taking a massive pay cut. I don't
want
know.
That, period.
I wouldn't want him unless it would be incredibly easy to fit him into the cap space. And I don't think he's going to make those commitments. If I had to take a bet, I think he might go to Washington.
It's a possibility, but actually I've heard all the rivals aren't in on Dez. None of them have interest in Dez.
I could see maybe.
Honestly, I think the best move for him, honestly, would, in the rumor, one of the guys is, I think he should go to Houston. Be on the other side of DeAndre Hopkins, and he gets to stay in the Texas area.
Yeah, I guess that could work, or if he's really desperate for money, since Cleveland apparently wants to give out monster contracts to anyone who shows even the slightest modicum of talent and might break the league at this rate with the contracts they're giving out. He could try that. I mean, you guys saw what Landry got, right?
Yeah, hey, you know what? Anybody that wants to stay in Cleveland, guess what? You're going to have to pay more because it's Cleveland, period. I don't care what player it is. Just like anybody in like Buffalo. Buffalo's got to pay more than other teams as well because they got to come to Buffalo. It's not like, hey, you're coming to L.A. or you're going to Miami. You're going to Buffalo or you're going to Cleveland. You're only going there for the money.
870. Where you calling from? What's your name? What you want to talk about?
Yes, hello?
I don't know what's going on there. Hold on. Is he on? 870.
Yeah.
What's your name? What you want to talk about? You're with us.
Okay, my name is James. I'm actually calling from way down here in Arkansas. I've been a Giants fan ever since I was about 6 years old, and I'm the one that actually the comment on us trading back if the quarterback is not there. I'll say that up front. And the quarterback to me this class is going to be Darnold. I believe that he's the one that's ready. He's polished. Sit behind Eli for a couple of years, and he's ready to go. But if Darnold is not there, then I think the play is for us to trade back. And I said 5 because 5. There's already talk between us and Denver. Of course, rumors. About a trade package being available and whatnot. I think trading back to Buffalo at 12 is too far. We can't get a star player there, I don't believe. But I believe we can go to 5, and we can get multiple picks. And the reason I said Ward is because, let's think about it. We just let DRC walk. We don't know what Apple's going to do. Look what he did last year. And then Jenkins, Jackrabbit is great, but was it last year because he just quit on the team? He quit on his coach? Or was it because, they had figured out something about Jackrabbit, And, of course, I know there's, he was injured, and injuries are part of the game. Everybody gets, has to deal with that. But Ward, they're saying, is, one of the most polished corners that's came out in a long time. And he's ready. He's plug and play, ready to go. And that would just solidify the back four for us, And then we could still get those picks, and we could trade back up into the end of the first round and snag one of these great second elite running backs, the kid from San Diego State. I can't remember his name right now, but I absolutely love him.
Rashad Penny.
Penny. And I believe that Penny, I think he's, he led the NCAA in yards last year. That speaks for itself, And I believe we could jump up at the end of the first round somewhere, grab Penny, and we would be ready.
Hey, here's the problem with Ward, and I'm with you. I like Ward. It is a cornerback deep draft, so you don't need to take a cornerback that high. But the other thing being is with Ward, he looks up to Eli Apple because they played together, and I've heard him already talk about Eli Apple. I want someone that's going to keep Eli Apple in check, not follow him.
We're going to have a rookie keep Eli Apple in check now?
No, I'm not saying keep him in check, but you know what? I don't want somebody that's just going to follow what Eli Apple does. I need someone with a strong personality.
Well, here's my thing. I like Ward, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say I don't like Ward. I'd be silly to say that, right? If you're telling me, Tim, if we went with your scenario where if I traded back to 8 and I got a bunch of picks and I walked out of this draft with, let's say, and I like Penny too, but the two guys that I would be looking at if Barkley wasn't my guy early and I was trading back to 8 and let's say I accumulated some picks and I was able to get to get Ward at 8, The two running backs that I would love to get my hands on are Sony Michel and Jewess.
I like the pounding backs. I like Nick Chubb. As far
I know
as,
you do. I like Chubb too. But if you're telling me that it's going to be the second round, I think those guys, Jewess and Sony Michel, I think those guys are late first, early second round picks. I don't think Chubb is. I think you can get Chubb in the later second or possibly even the third.
Exactly. And you know what? Who knows? Because you never know when the run's going to happen on running backs. So who knows? As far as, but you know, if we got to trade back to 8, the guy that I would not mind Giants getting at 8, Roquan Smith.
There's another guy. Great value at 8.
Roquan Smith at right next to Ogletree. Our linebacker core is pretty much set for the next 5 years.
I like that. Well, I mean, if you're talking about 8 and back guys that we're targeting, yes, you know, Ward, Saquon Smith, all those guys come into play. 443, we appreciate you holding. We appreciate you listening even more. What's your name? What you want to talk about?
Hey, that's Jordan from Baltimore, and I wanted to make a quick point about Dez Bryant. I don't know why nobody's talking about him like maybe going to Baltimore. I think that would be
we can't hear you. You're breaking up a little bit. Start over for us.
This is Jordan from Baltimore.
Hey, what's up?
Okay. What's going on, man?
What's up? I think Dez Bryant would be a perfect fit to go to Baltimore, in my opinion. Flacco, just imagine it. Flacco throwing 60-yard bombs to Dez. I mean, that's his specialty in jump balls. So that's just a quick point about where I think Dez Bryant should go at. But I really don't agree with you saying that if Buffalo gets in the top 10, we should try to trade with them. I mean, if they're trading, this will be that second time trading. What would they be able to trade to us that would be valuable for them to get our second-round pick? Well, I mean, our second pick in the first round.
Well, here's the question: would it cost Buffalo here? I agree with you. So, and if you listened to the show last week, I don't know if you did. One of the caveats to that question is it's ideal to say, okay, Buffalo or Miami are going to trade up to 5 with the Broncos, and then boom, they're going to move to our pick. What is it going to cost them to move from 11 or 12 to get to 5 or 6? Does it cost Buffalo that extra first-round pick? I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know if the team there would be content not getting that first-round pick, because then that would be the other bullet in the gun for them to move with us to get 2. And ideally, you're right. I agree with you. To me, the perfect trade is hoping that hoping that John Elway right now is full of shit, that he's not interested in the quarterback, and actually he is, and that he wants to move up to 2 to get that second pick. I think that's the perfect fit. Mm-hmm. But you're right. What is it? What else are they going to have to get up to us to be able to get number 2?
There's going to be a lot of future first and future seconds getting traded, if that's the case.
What would it take for you, Jordan?
Honestly, well, go from 2 to 8, or were we going 2 to 5?
I
want to know what the caller wants to do. He called in. He has the scenario.
I really don't like the future picks. I'm trying to. We got a window, in my opinion. I think we're building for the future, but I think they noticing that we have probably a 2 to 3 year window. So I don't want future picks. I just think it's pointless.
Yeah, I'm not big on future picks either.
See, I'm big on future first. If you're telling me that I'm going to have 2 first-round picks, if you're telling me that a team is going to have, if a team is going to trade you a first-round pick, and that team is going to trade that first-round pick for a rookie quarterback, the odds are that rookie quarterback is going to play some point in that season, and that team may struggle. So you could be looking at a very valuable pick, you know, where you could package that with your first and possibly move up and take a quarterback in the future. So let's not get it twisted. They're not valuable now until you're looking at that draft and you're like, holy shit, we made that trade. We have 2 first-round picks. So let's not, just push the value of that aside. It's huge if you can get a future first-rounder. Huge.
Right.
We got people on Facebook throwing some names out for if we trade back. So Hold on. So let's start with James. James Stockman says Dez with Chicago. Watch for it. Annette says at 8, we should be able to pick from one of the top 4 guys. And if not, you would still be able to get Ward, Smith, or Edmonds. And at 12, we can still get one of those guys or Davenport. Great points, but I think
very true.
Yes, and if you're at 8, you can still. It's going to be difficult if somebody else, and we can't speak for what's going to happen because you never know what's on the clock. A lot of the times you anticipate all these trades, and then these teams just sit there and start taking guys. So if you look at it and you say that let's say the Giants hypothetically trade out, and let's just throw 8 out there for argument's sake. Let's say the Giants trade out, and it's 1, 2, 3 quarterback, and then everybody else stays pat, and it goes Barkley, Chubb, Fitzpatrick, Nelson in any of those orders, then you're not getting one of those. Then you can't get one of those 4 players. So to trade at 8, you're hoping something else happens in front of you and somebody goes for Allen. 717-406-05. Oh, I'm giving out this guy's whole fucking number. I'm sorry. 717.
Yo, that's my phone number, man.
Hey man,
what's going on this morning?
You're gonna get popular. Hey. You're gonna get nice pictures.
Yeah, I'm gonna get
nothing pics.
Nothing. I'll get lots of dick pics from a whole bunch of lonely dudes. I want to go over the Georgia linebacker. I really like him. I heard a lot of guys saying like he's too small. But Ray Lewis coming out, I'm not comparing him to Ray Lewis, but Ray Lewis coming out of college is more than 220 pounds. But I'm a simple mensch, just a simple mensch, and I would love to see Josh Rosen on this team. But watching one Jew throw it to another Jew as my quarterback, it would make me the happiest guy in the world. But I don't know. It's going to be the NFL draft this year is going to be so much fun because no one knows anything what's going to happen. Usually in years past, we always know what's going to happen first, second pick. This year is like completely a mystery. And I'm hoping you guys do a live podcast so I can turn off and listen to. You guys going to do a live podcast?
We are. If you guys are listening right now, we have a right now there's a bunch of people listening on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter all over the place. So we appreciate it. Keep with your comments. We're going to get to those in a second. If you want to call in 516-453-9383. Yes, if you're listening, turn off Mel Kiper and all those jackoffs and listen to us. We're going to be live at the draft. We're going to go live for 8 o'clock, live at the draft. You're going to get full reaction, full commentary. It's going to be full of passion and fury. We may, if things don't go how we like, we may form a posse and we may storm the castle. There's a lot of things that could go on. So clear your calendar and stick with us here at Bleed Big Blue for the podcast live on the 26th on Draft Night. Tim, what are your thoughts on Rosen?
I love Rosen. You know that. I mean, the only is Rosen didn't have the injury issues, which is really big, especially the concussions. If it wasn't for that, I'd be like, Rosen's number 1 quarterback by far all day. He's smart, and he just throws a pretty ball.
Yeah.
He's a window thrower, right?
A window thrower. He's a window thrower. He is. I mean, if you're talking about, we talked about, there's a lot to like about these kids. There's a lot not to like about these kids, right? But when you're looking at potential, Rosen is off the charts, man. I mean, if you could, if this was Madden and you could play with no injuries, you would take Rosen every day of the week at number 1, I think. I don't think there would be any question marks about that whatsoever.
And he's the only one he's the only one that you hear that's ready to play this year. Like could come out and be playing day 1. Everybody else, they're like, oh, sit him for a year, or sit him for a half a year, or even 2 years, and then he'll be ready. That tells me a lot right there.
Yeah. Yeah. 518, what's your name? Where you calling from? And what you want to talk about?
I'm Josh.
What's up, Josh?
I don't think we need a quarterback because after a 3-13 season, we need to win now.
Okay.
I would go Chubb or Barkley because we need a run game. The only thing that would push me towards Chubb is we already have too many running backs in our backfield already. Because we have Perkins, Gallman, we just signed Stewart, Darkwa. What's a fifth running back going to do?
Well, Darkwa's not on the team. He's a free agent.
Yeah, Darkwa's gone right now. Darkwa's actually visiting Denver, I think, last I heard anything about Darkwa. Here's the thing.
Paul Perkins is going to be lucky he makes the team.
If you take Barkley at 2, I don't think that Gettleman has any obligation to play Perkins, to play Gallman at all. I think that, you see Stewart come in, you figure Stewart is not going to be your every down back. He's going to be a complimentary back. He's going to be a guy to help you out in the backfield. He's a good locker room guy. But if you draft Barkley, Barkley's your starter. Like it's not a not a competition. It's not a rotation. If you start Barkley, if you're drafting the kid at number 2, rookie running backs play right out of the gate. If you draft Barkley, he's your guy, and you better have plans on him touching the ball 25 to 30 times a game via running the ball and catching it. And that's it. Like the other guys on the roster are going to be completely secondary and complementary to Saquon Barkley if you take him at 2. Now, the flip side of it is Chubb. Like to me, you can get more value at running back later on than you can at defensive end. So if you're telling me I'm making the pick at 2 and a quarterback's not my guy, and I'm thinking like you, where I'm not taking a quarterback, I need to win now, then I think I'm leaning Chubb over Barkley only because I can get a really good running back later on in the draft. I can't get that good of a defensive end later on in the draft. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I agree with that because with the protection we have on the line, Eli should be good. Granted, if our guards play good, we have Solder, put Flowers back on his natural position. I would go Chubb because he just got rid of JPP. It's a completely different defensive formation. Barkley does give Eli the better protection as in being able to be a pass-catching back out of the backfield, though, if nothing's open downfield, which we haven't had consistent.
Yeah, we haven't had, and you're still with us. We didn't hang up on you. You're on hold. If you want to hang out, we're going to probably get to our callers again in a little bit. We'll go through and let you get another point in. So you're on hold. If you're listening and you want to call in, 516-453-9383. We got another caller on hold as well. Is that 917?
Are you gonna give my number out so I can get dick pics also?
Is that why you called in?
No.
Yes. You want to put it on him.
This is Tim from North. This is Big Tim from North Carolina, just calling in to see what you guys are up to.
Wow. No.
Our CEO on the line, Marco. Good morning. What's up, sir?
Yeah.
I have bad news. We might have to rely on the intern. I am desperately trying to get off of work on Thursday, and it's not looking good.
I will
for the draft.
Well, it's not 2 Thursdays from now, the 26th.
Yeah.
Well, then you'll have to talk. You'll have to give my we'll have to give my wife down here. We'll have to get a tutorial on so I can learn how to stream. I'll have to have you'll have to come down and teach me hooked on computers.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Streaming for dummies.
I think the intern would be able to do it, but I don't know if he's still. He has a flip phone now. His teeth. He has no more teeth. I don't know what's going on with him.
We'll figure it out. We'll make sure that we are live on draft night.
Yes.
Like I said, if you have to teach me how to do it, I'll get my wife to produce the show. We'll get her streaming. So we'll figure it out. But we will be live on draft night on the 26th. coming to you live. Marco, you hanging out with us? What's up? I didn't know you were calling in.
Yeah. First of all, what happened last draft time? You were with DiCaprio. It was last time we're doing the show, and you're just hanging out with DiCaprio.
And Marco, don't ruin it for us this year. Marco, if you were listening to the show live last year, right? So we're all live listening to the show. We don't know what's going to happen. Marco all of a sudden texts us is that he's at some draft party restaurant, and Leonardo DiCaprio comes walking in. And then Marco ruins it for us and tells us the pick is Ingram. Like, what, 3 minutes before the pick was Ingram?
Yeah.
Yeah, about.
Oh.
Yep.
But Tim did nail it. Well, he did at least mention him.
He did.
He's like, in passing, he's like, maybe Ingram. Nah, it won't be Ingram.
Well, you know what? It's because I'm a draft guru, guys. I just want to put it out there. I'm gonna put my mock draft out there sometime this week.
So are you guys thinking that it's now Saquon at 2?
Yes.
Are you sold?
No.
I'm not sold, but if you had to just
I'm not sold because why is all this
from their way of thinking.
Now?
I'm trying to look at it from their way of thinking, and the more I read, I just think that they're leaning towards who they think is the best player in the draft. I think they think Saquon Barkley is the best player in the draft. I think that they saw what a running back can do for your offense. They think they have a short window with Eli. If you can add that running game to it and what Barkley can do out of the backfield, I don't think that they want to risk trading back. I think they like Barkley that much, and I think they're going to end up taking Barkley at 2. I don't agree with it, but I think that that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, it drives me crazy because this would have been an easy pick if we only got to see a little bit, just a little bit from Davis Webb. It was a huge failure.
But let's say Davis Webb played 3 games. Three games, and then all of a sudden, the thing is, we never thought we would be in a position to grab some of these quarterbacks. You know, some of the top quarterback draft classes in years. We didn't think we'd be in this position. So would we really be like?
Yes, we did. We had 2 wins going into like the last 2 games of the season.
Well, I understand that, but would it make a difference if Davis Webb played a couple games? You would be like, if I had Kansas Sam Darnold, or I could get Davis Webb.
It would make it would make a difference. At least we would get.
It would make a little bit of a difference. A little bit.
I'm not saying you would have seen him and then he'd have been like an iffy performance, and you're still not going to draft a quarterback. Or even if he played well, you still might draft a quarterback. It's about the value of the pick, and you can't assess what you have because you didn't see it.
Yeah, and who I was screaming for it. Like, it made no sense to me. And it was no disrespect to Eli. It was just because of where we were going to end up picking, and we were going to be in a position because there were so many kids coming out that no matter which way you cut it, that you were going to be in a position to either move up, trade up, or have one of these kids sitting in your lap. So to not see what you had in Webb, and you can't just say that it was on McAdoo and Reese, because Gettleman was hired during the season. So Gettleman had an opportunity. Guys, I'm going
to run really quick. I'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy. So Gettleman had an opportunity to really take the bull by the horns here and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Webb because we see down the line we're going to be in a position to have to make a decision on a quarterback. So to me, it was a failure to do that.
It was a failure, but I understand why it happened. Spagnuolo was trying to win. Period. Spagnuolo was trying to make his resume look good when he left. And McAdoo doesn't move people out of positions, obviously. But I have Ed Boyd Silvers. I've been reading his comments.
Go ahead.
And I gotta he's like, I'll pick out some of them. One, he says, he likes Davenport better than he likes Chubb. so he can collect picks and still move down as well. I don't necessarily agree with that. Maybe in a few years, everybody that said that is Chubb's not a finished project, but he's way more progressed down the line than Davenport, and Davenport's going to need to learn a little bit more. And Davenport hasn't been playing the same kind of competition Chubb has. He also said we need picks so we can grab a lot of talent in the second, third, and fourth round. The center guard from Iowa, which is James Daniels, Willie Hernandez, or Isaiah Wynn from Georgia. You get one of those guys as well. But he's also, could we grab those guys in the early second, maybe one of them? He also wants to grab Orlando Brown from Oklahoma in the third round. I'm going to tell you right now, Orlando Brown's going in the first round. This is there's probably about 4 tackles, maybe 5, that are any good in this draft, and they're going to get taken way higher than they should, but they're going to get taken high because there's very minimal players. Just want to put that out there for you.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through some of these. I'm trying to look through some of the comments on YouTube. But guys, let me say this: if you think that none of these QBs are blue chip prospects, you're insane. Like, I don't know what you've been reading or following, but to say that because you don't want a QB, there's a difference between saying that you don't want a QB at 2 and saying that there's no value to the QBs that you would take it to. Just because you don't want one doesn't mean that they aren't good players or good prospects. I have said all along that I don't want any of the position players at 2. I wouldn't take Chubb at 2. I wouldn't take Barkley at 2. I wouldn't take Nelson at 2. Here's why. Because somebody will trade up and take one of those quarterbacks at 2 because there's more value at a quarterback at 2 than any of those players. It doesn't mean that I don't like Chubb. It doesn't mean that I don't like Barkley. It doesn't mean that I don't like Nelson. It means that you have to look at where the value is for those players. So I understand that you like those guys, but don't and you may not want a quarterback at 2, but don't say that Darnold. You sound like you don't know what you're talking about if you say that you don't think Darnold is going to be a good prospect. If you don't think that Rosen is a good prospect. If you don't think that Mayfield is a good prospect, you just sound like a hater. You don't sound like you know what you're talking about. There's negatives to some of those guys, and you can make arguments against each one of them. But to say that at their age, there's no potential down the line for any one of these 4 or 5 kids to become star quarterbacks, you're kidding yourself. You're kidding yourself.
So, James, I know we've been ranking them from the beginning. How are you ranking your quarterbacks now that all the research you've done?
It's tough because there's 4 guys that I love. There's 4 guys that I absolutely love, and I don't like. I can see why people would like Allen. I don't like him for a bunch of reasons. I'm actually looking for a tweet about Lamar Jackson because we had somebody call the other day and say that Lamar Jackson, you can't like Lamar Jackson because of his completion percentage, right? Remember that? You can't like Lamar Jackson.
Then Josh Allen is way down there.
You can't. There's the Josh Allen argument where Josh Allen, if you don't like Josh Allen because he didn't have a very high completion percentage, you can't like Lamar Jackson because his completion percentage was under 60% or something like that, right? So I'm looking for the tweet now, and then we'll get back to some comments. If you're listening, 516-453-9383. Calls have been off the hook all morning long. We'll stay on with you for a couple of more minutes.
Yeah, so as far as quarterbacks, I think we've been pretty much on the same page. Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen, those 2 are a level above the other guys. Are you with me on that?
I would say if you got to, like I said, I would go Darnold because he's 20 and doesn't have the injuries. Rosen would be my second pick off the board. Baker Mayfield would be, well, you know what? Honestly, Lamar Jackson would be 3 for me. Baker Mayfield would be 4. Allen would be 5. Now, here's the tweet. Fun fact. Listen to this, Tim. Lamar Jackson had the highest adjusted conversion rate on 3rd and 5+ among draft-eligible QBs in 2017. And here's the breakdown. Lamar Jackson on 3rd and 5, conversion rate, 52.2. Mason Rudolph, 48.8. Baker Mayfield, 45.8. Josh Rosen, 40. Darnold, 37.2. Josh Allen, 35.9. On 3rd and 5, their conversion rate, Lamar Jackson, head and shoulders above the rest of this draft class at 52.2. But it shows you
because Lamar Jackson. But the thing is with that, Lamar Jackson's an overall talent that you gotta account for his arm and his legs. You know, where that's the thing with Rosen. Rosen's gonna sit back there. He's not gonna run. And as far as Mason Rudolph,
Oh, there you go.
I don't think he's gonna run either. That's and that's the thing where I think.
Tim, you're a mess. Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, shit. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Go ahead. Continue with your point.
Okay, so my point being, Lamar is good, and the talent's there. But like we've talked about before, if he does not get to sit a year, at least, to learn the offense, you're going to kill that kid. He needs to get in the weight room. He needs to learn the offense. And honestly, from interviews I've heard, and I hate to say this, and I don't know him, he doesn't sound like he's that smart of a kid.
Well, NYC TV NYC on Twitter on YouTube, in all caps. Are those QBs worth taking it to? They're not. They are. They are.
Yeah. You got to go with value. Exactly what James was talking about. You got to talk about value of the pick. As much as Quentin Nelson's awesome, and he's a can't-miss player, he's still a guard. You need 2 of them. So you know what? You can wait. And, a running back. When the running backs are this deep, you don't need to take 1 at 2. The thing is, quarterbacks can cover up other mistakes. And if you don't have a quarterback, you aren't getting to the playoffs. You aren't getting to the Super Bowl. You just aren't, period. The other things you can get away with and improve on later. Without a quarterback, you could not do that. That's why their value is so high. That's why they're getting paid $25 million a year or whatever it's going to be every other year. God knows Aaron Rodgers probably could get about $30 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. If you have one of those quarterbacks, if you're right, that quarterback can mask other deficiencies on your team. If you're lacking in one spot, that quarterback can pick you up. He hides those things like no other position on the field. There's too much value there. And these teams, we went through it a couple of weeks ago, Tim, months ago now, actually, where we went through the before free agency and we said that there was, conceivably more than half the league that you can argue that needed a quarterback, that you can make an argument that was in a position to either need one from day one next season or to draft one to have in the future. So there's tons of teams that are salivating for that guy, and they're doing that because it's a QB league. It's a spread out league now. And if you can have a guy that can make all the throws, you're ahead of the game. And I saw somebody compare, Saquon Barkley to LaDainian Tomlinson the other day, and I thought to myself, that's great and all, but LaDainian didn't win much in his career.
Well, I hate to break it to people. I'll give you a stat that you'll like. Lamar Jackson outrushed Saquon Barkley in his career. Period.
That that kid is amazing. I think if you take Lamar Jackson and you put him in a situation where he doesn't have to play right away, and you can let his body catch up a little bit, and he's only 20 years old, you can let him put on another 10, 15 pounds. You let him develop in a system. Hopefully he ends up in a place not where it's a new coach and a new general manager every friggin' year, but he's in a place where he can, grow, learn. He's not rushed. That kid can be an unbelievable weapon on the football field. You're concerned about injuries to each one of these guys. Allen with the clavicle, Lamar Jackson, because of the way he plays, you're always concerned about durability at the NFL level. Mayfield because of his size, Rosen, the injury history, Darnold. You're always concerned about these guys getting banged up, but you can't draft based on that. If you draft based on that, you'd be scared to take anybody. Barkley, Chubb, all these guys are at risk of injury at any time on the football field. So you can't draft based off being scared off of injuries unless it's something horrific or the guy's injured now, like you see in a situation like Price got hurt, he's going to drop a little bit probably. But prime positions like this, if the guy's healthy right now at the time of the draft, you got to take him.
Yeah. I actually think Lamar Jackson in New Orleans would be the perfect spot.
That's a hell of a...
He can sit behind Drew Brees for a year or two and learn the offense, and God knows Sean Payton would design something that would be perfect for him.
Let's see here. I'm trying to look through some of these. I think we should be able to trade down with Denver. They have a Band-Aid quarterback situation and should like the number 2 pick. Yeah, Tony on YouTube. Thanks for the comment. Yeah, definitely. That's the prime spot, number 5. If you can get back to number 5 and walk away with either Chubb or Barkley plus additional picks, you win. And if that's Broncos pick, great. If it's the Dolphins trading up to 5, if it's Buffalo trading up to 5, you hope that what they have to give up isn't a huge package, that they still have plenty of ammo, and then you could swing a deal with them, trade back, get a huge ransom, and walk away with one of the players you ideally want. Tim, we're going to wrap this up in a couple of minutes. Any last thoughts that you may have? Eli gives me gray hair and raises my blood pressure. Tony, with you.
I just want to put it out there, as far as the Denver trading up to 2, don't be surprised if they trade up to get Chubb. You put Chubb next to Von Miller.
We haven't talked about somebody trading up to get one of the position players instead of a quarterback.
Exactly. Because Denver might be scared of Cleveland grabbing Chubb. Or let's see if Denver wanted Saquon, which they could absolutely use.
Tony, you are not the only one. You are not the only one that doesn't like Darnold. There are plenty of people that don't like Darnold. The main thing you hear about Darnold is the turnovers, and I think you guys need to realize that he's a 20-year-old kid. He plays like a gunslinger almost. He's running around. He's trying to make plays. His team wasn't really that good. They were in a lot of high-scoring games, so defense wasn't that good. And people are worried about the turnovers. You can teach ball security in the pocket. You can teach the better decision-making, making better reads. But when you look at that kid and his physical tools, you'd be. I mean, you're silly if you're going to knock him. That kid is a football player. He's a good leader. He's going to be a very good pro. How great he'll be, I don't know, but he'll be a good pro. His turnovers aren't going to be what hurt him. What hurts him? I don't think. I think that he'll grow from that. I think he has the ability to get better.
I'm laughing at some of these comments.
Darnold is pick city. That's because he's slinging the ball. He's a 20-year-old kid playing like he's in a schoolyard. Yeah, he threw some picks. He made some bad decisions, but he's also running for his life behind a horrible. There it is. There's another comment. Darnold had a bad front line. Yeah, Darnold had a horrible front line. And so don't let that knock you. Don't let that knock you. Like you can Like, you get him in a situation where he doesn't have to play right away, and he learns a system, and he gets better, and he grows. All the physical tools are there when it comes to Darnold. So, relax with the turnovers. We see it. All these NFL teams see it, and he's still going to be a top 3 pick in the NFL draft. So they're not worried about it. You shouldn't be worried about it
either. These guys are like, we're not paying Lamar Jackson to win spelling bees.
We're not paying Lamar Jackson to win spelling bees. Well, the thing about Jackson that nobody mentions is he played under Petrino. He played in a pro-style offense. He made reads down the field. I mean, he played great in big games. There's so much to like about him. The knock on Lamar Jackson is that you're afraid because he runs a lot at the NFL level is that he's going to get, destroyed because everybody at the NFL level is, bigger and faster, just as fast. But, if that kid could play, and you saw what happened, and here's the other thing, right? Everybody says, well, look what happened to Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson had that happen in practice. He was in the middle of a walkthrough. So if an injury is going to happen, it's going to happen. But if you put that kid on a football field and you put him in a system where he can learn and he uses his God-given ability to get out of the pocket, keep his head up, and make plays down the football field, that kid's a weapon. That kid is a weapon in the right system. If he went to New Orleans, watch out. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I necessarily wouldn't be happy about it, but I think it'd be the best for him.
Darnold should have stayed in college. You're on crack.
Yeah. You're going to be the number 1 pick or maybe the 2nd pick, but go back to college.
You go back to college, you hurt your shoulder. You can go back to college. You can have the best year of your life, and in the second quarter of the bowl game, you go down with a separated shoulder, or you hurt your knee, or you break your ankle, and guess what? You're done. You cost yourself millions of dollars. So let's not think of this little stunad like, right? Well, let's focus. You can say that you don't like Darnold for certain reasons, but don't say he should have stayed in school. That's silly. Absolutely silly.
So I got to tell you this because this is from the last show. I literally ordered cannolis yesterday because of the last show we did.
Because we were talking about, it was funny.
Leave the gun and take the cannolis.
The kid Ryan who called in, remember the kid Ryan who called in from the, he sent Marco the message at the end of last show that he, the neighborhood in the Bronx I was talking about, he was familiar with. He actually tweeted a picture to Marco, I believe it was like yesterday or the day before, that he was at Pelham Bay Park watching his brother, and then he said he was going to Pelham Bakery today, and I said I wanted a picture of a crumb bun, and I wanted a picture of some Sicilian from Crosby Pizza. So that's funny. You went and got cannolis?
Yeah.
Where the hell do you get cannolis in North Carolina? Did you have to have them specially made or shipped in? Do they know what a cannoli is in North Carolina?
Actually, you know what? I always get tested out. There's not as many Italians down here as there should be. I don't know. You guys like to stay up north. This place called Sergio's. I was like, okay. They have cannolis. It was a good cannoli. I couldn't complain.
Did it have chocolate chips on it?
It did not. That's what my mother would do. It did not have chocolate chips. You know what? Now you just took it down a notch for me. I just thought about that.
Why? Did it have the powdered sugar on the shell, Tim?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Powdered sugar was on the shell.
So it was like half legit.
Half legit.
Now, how was the taste of the cannoli?
It was solid. It was sweet. It was good.
Now, did you have any drinks with the cannoli? Was there a warm drink? Was there an espresso? Was there a cappuccino? Was there anything that went along well with the cannoli for you? How do you enjoy it?
I did have a coffee. Did have coffee.
Now, Tim, when you eat your cannoli, do you nibble on it and get the cream like a little bit on your nose, or do you just fully take cannoli in?
I took the cannoli fully in.
You took the cannoli. You took it fully in.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, Tim, that says a lot about you and the type of person that you
are. Yeah, it was.
I would have trouble myself eating the cannoli without the chocolate chips. Now, did you ever consider going and buying chocolate chips to add on to your cannoli?
You know what? I did not, because it's been a long time since I've had actually a good cannoli. But now that you said that, that's what my mother and my grandmother used to do, was the chocolate chips. And now, now it just took that cannoli down a notch.
I mean, I would call and talk to the manager.
Yeah.
I would want to know, like, why. I mean, it is North Carolina, so maybe they just don't know, right?
Yeah.
Now, Ryan, if you're listening in New York and you're going to go to Pelham Bakery this morning, do us a favor. Take a picture of a cannoli, a real one, and put it up on Twitter for us or Facebook or whatever the hell, and let us take a look at that so Tim can see what he's missing out on with his fake cannoli that he had. And he took all in one bite.
It wasn't one bite, man. It wasn't one bite. I know I'm a big dude, but it wasn't one bite.
Too fun. Dude, where's Justin when we need him? Can you imagine Justin? He'd be fucking hysterical.
Justin's out in Long Island doing something.
Did you see him? Did you see Zoolander? The picture he took on the way to Long Island?
No, I did not.
Go take a look at Zoolander. Now we're gonna come up with another name for Victor Cruz. We're gonna call Justin Zoolander, because now he's taken, ever since the mustache thing, where we started calling him, where he looked like the 80s porn star, where he had the mustache, or he looked like the Super Trooper. Ever since then, you got to watch his page. He's been putting up these selfies. Yesterday, he took one where it was like through the side mirror of his car with a little slide comment that, objects in the mirror may be closer than they appear, and he had his glasses on. Very, very, very incognito, Zoolander. He's got a little full of himself with the attention via the podcast and all this stuff. We got to watch him. I want you to keep an eye on that.
The Eagles already. He's already been a diva. Let's be honest. He's already been a diva. He shows up when he wants to show up.
And not even a communication this morning. Do you think he slept in? I mean, it's 11:30. He had to see that we reached out to him.
I'm gonna say, you know what? He's another one that doesn't like to communicate like immediately. He only comes. We'll have arguments, and we might be an hour wait, might be. But Justin might be a half a day, and he'll get into something.
So EDP's dad on YouTube, cannolis are delicious. Yeah. So EDP's dad, we disagree about Darnold, we agree about cannolis. So yes, they are. Rumors are saying we have a trade with the Bills worked out, but it's too far to trade with them. Jason on YouTube. Yeah, that to me, I think they have the parameters of a deal in place. If they were going to move back to 12, that doesn't mean that they're going to do it.
Yeah.
We've heard rumors that they're content staying at 2. We've heard rumors that they're content that maybe that they want to move back, but maybe not that far. Can Buffalo move up? A lot can happen in the next 11 days. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, but we're with you. That seems a little too far back. We'd like to stay at
a reminder on the misinformation.
Top 7.
The misinformation out there is going to be huge.
Yeah. Teams are not going to be honest with what they're thinking up until the last minute.
That's why the Saquon thing doesn't. I don't believe it. The Saquon at 2. I just, you know what? All of a sudden that's going to pick up steam again. Like, why?
I don't know, Tim. I don't know. I just got a feeling that when all is said and done, that they aren't going to trade back. They're going to stay right where they are, and they're going to take Saquon at 2. I got a feeling. You know that I'm not saying that's what I would do. I don't necessarily agree with it. But that's just, if you're asking me right now how I think it's going to pan out, I think Gettleman stays pat and he takes him at 2.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you. Because how often do the Giants trade out or trade back? Ever. So I see them staying put. I really think it should be for Chubb if they're going to stay at 2, but whatever.
A lot of people saying that they're enjoying the show. Keep it up. Thank you, Mercedes on YouTube, EDP's dad. We really appreciate you guys listening and calling in. Let's go back to the phones real quick. We got a couple of people that have been with us for a while here. Let's go. We got a new caller calling in, I think. 704. What do you want to talk about? What's your name? Where you from?
If you're talking about 704 with me, Pam, I've been waiting.
Oh, Pam, what's up, girl?
You don't know me by Pam though. You know about Bleedbigblue, July 46.
We love it.
I'm just been sitting here listening, y'all, and I thank you for your comment. What you said about Saquon Barkley just now, I agree.
Is that so you would agree? You think they're going to stay at 2 and take Barkley?
I think we're going to take Barkley. But let me get on the Dez thing. A couple guys back was talking about Dez.
Go ahead, because we're going to wrap it up. Go ahead, get your Dez point in.
Dez, to me, I think Dez needs to go to Houston. Dez is a good quarterback. Granted, he's not my Eli. But he showed me more in 6-7 months than Tony Romo showed. Tony Romo showed me in 5 years. Dez is talented. But I don't want to admit my Giants. No. But I think Houston is where he needs to go.
I agree with you. I agree with
Annette on Facebook, Pam, I think said the same exact thing with you. She said, watch Houston as a potential landing spot. So, some of the people today on both Facebook and YouTube, when it comes to Dez, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people that want to bring him into the Giants. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of people that are too interested in potentially bringing him in the NFC East as well. But we've heard Chicago, Houston as well for potential landing spots today for Dez Bryant. 530, you've been on with us for a minute. Give me another point before we wrap up shop. And our CEO just called in as well. He's back with us too.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up.
530, what's up? Real quick.
Yeah, man. I agree about the Dez Bryant. I agree about staying at 2. I don't see him doing much activity. The reason that I don't like Barkley at 2 is because of the running back shelf life. And the only other position besides quarterback that I would go at 2 is the quarterback killer, and that's Chubb. So with that being said, I'll close with that. But you guys have a good day.
Hey, man. Thank you for spending your Sunday morning with us. We do appreciate it. And great point. Going back to what we first talked about, Tim, if you're telling me that we're going to stay at 2, I would lean Chubb for the simple fact that I think there's a lot more value there with the defensive end. I think you can get Jewess, or I think you can get Sony Michel, or Chubb even later on. The running back Chubb. So there's a lot of guys running back-wise you can get later on that can contribute. We've seen in the past late-round picks. Well, not late-round picks, but guys like Kamara, Hunt recently who have done it via third-round picks. Guys like Le'Veon Bell was a second-round pick. They won't let us end the show, Tim, because they love us so much. 609, real quick. The CEO's yelling at us. We got to wrap it up. Get your point in quick. 609, what's your name? Where you calling from? What do you want to talk about?
My name's Sam. I'm from Jersey. I wanted to ask, do you think Barkley's a done deal?
No.
Like it or not?
I do.
Similar reports.
I do. Tim says no. I say yes. I think Barkley's a done deal. I don't like it. That's not the way I would go. But yes, I think that Barkley's the pick.
I don't think it's a done deal, but if Barkley ends up being a Giant, Hey, I'll go get my Barkley jersey. It's fine.
A lot of guys on YouTube will end with this, loving the Jewess. So this guy, I know if you don't know what we're talking about, here's how we'll end the show. If you love the running back Geis, on this show when you call in, go watch the cable guy. We like Jewess. That's you say Jewess. And we are praying the Giants end up with some Jewess on April 26th when we are live with you at 8 o'clock. We'll see you guys on Wednesday night. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you guys calling in. As always, Tim, thank you.
Thank you. And you know what? We bleed big blue.
Giants fans, always. We're out. Mic drop.